Welcome to Strictly Business Unscripted. I'm your host, Keandra Jones, and I'm here to provide the ultimate networking hub and exclusive peek into the lives of thriving entrepreneurs and business owners. This podcast will educate, ignite inspiration, foster encouragement, and pave the way for growth among small businesses and the overall Oak Cliff community. Today is a very exciting show as we'll introduce you to yet another executive committee member for the Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce. But first, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Home Care Network, the Breakfast Brothers, Dallas Zoo, and ServPro. Thank you for your support. Okay, again, we've got a fantastic show. It's called Get to Know Your Oak Cliff Executive Committee. So we've got the famous, the legendary, the most amazing person on the planet, Mr. Rickey Booker, who is the owner or one half of the owner of Breakfast Brothers with us. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I ain't famous.
Yes, you are. The world famous. I mean, Breakfast Brothers is huge. In fact, you've got fans. You've got fans. Do you sign autographs?
I will, but I didn't know I had fans. But you know, it's two words that shouldn't go together.
What's that?
Rich and famous. I want to be rich way before I'm famous.
I don't know that I want to be famous.
Those two words go together. Rich and famous. Yeah, but I'd rather be rich than famous.
Well, that's true. That's true. Y'all can have the fame. Yeah. I just want the money, you know. So thank you for being here. We've got a bunch of questions. So we've reversed roles because I was on your show. Can we start out first by talking about your show?
Right.
Tell us all about that.
I have a show that comes on. It's called In the Kitchen with the Breakfast Brothers every Saturday at 10:30 in Dallas, Houston, Oklahoma City, Hulu Live, and YouTube TV. And we bring guests on, such as yourself, and talk about their platform, and they order Breakfast Brothers and eat. It's just kind of like a sit down and have a conversation while you eat.
Yeah. So I had such a great time on your show, but the best part was the eating. The best part was the food because you let us taste some of Breakfast Brothers' food while we're on the show, so that was great. But we're going to jump into Breakfast Brothers in a second, but I've got some other questions for you. So this is Strictly Business Unscripted, so you never know what we're going to ask.
God. So you didn't dug out some dirt that I might not know about or forgot about?
I have done some research on you. I know all the things, and it's time for the whole world to know who Rickey Booker is.
All right,
first, we're going to ask some simple questions, okay? So you're new to the Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce Executive Committee, Executive Committee, Board of Directors, and we know that there's a whole bunch of chambers in this Metroplex. Why this chamber? Why are you a part of, not only a part of in name, you're not only on the roster, but you work in this chamber. Right. Why is that?
This is the second term as me being a member. In the second year, I became an executive board member. I've been on other chambers and on some now, but I found that Oak Cliff Chamber, they're more into, if you have, I don't know if y'all had less members or more members hired, but y'all real in tune to your members. Y'all, we know what's going on. We're not a needle in a haystack. And I could appreciate that more because everybody always say I work too much and I'm hands-on. I like to be hands-on on what's going on. You come to the meetings, you come to the events, and you're recognizable. And if you have 1,000 people in a room, each one of those people is recognizable with Oak Cliff Chambers. And that's what really made me stay around and become in tune to what was going on here at the chamber.
I appreciate that about you. And Rickey, I know that you work hard. In fact, I wonder when you sleep because you have so much going on all the time. And I want to take a moment to just say how grateful I am that you're a part of this organization. It is through your mentorship that we're even able to sit here right now and do this. And so I just want to say thank you for taking time out with us. Okay. You're also taking time out with our food truck endeavor. And so we appreciate that. Talk to me about what you enjoy the most about your service to the Oak Cliff community and Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce.
The thing that I love the most is I love people, And there's sometimes I'm a little hard on some others than others because when I believe in something and believe in individuals and believe in what I'm doing is I share. and the community. I believe as a business owner and an entrepreneur, whatever community you're in, you have to know what's going on in your community. Oak Cliff Chambers is allowed me to see a lot more insight on how to reach the community and how to reach some of the people that's at need, because sometimes people get overlooked, and the chambers help you see some of the things that happen. And I'm gonna share something with you now on camera. Me and my partner, the other brother, was talking the other day. He said he had passed a park in Oak Cliff, and it was trash everywhere. And he said, "Man, we need to come up with a campaign. I know you in the chamber, and you know the president, right?" I said, "Yeah, I know her very well. We need to come up with some type of campaign to where we start getting Oak Cliff cleaned up in some areas that's overlooked." And I said, "Well, they have a leadership program now and cleaning up and doing some areas." And he said, "Well, man, they must be missing." I said, "Well, you got to understand, Oak Cliff is huge." And so we had to get around to those things. So if you see some things, just take notes. So being involved, before, me and him didn't understand how to do it. We've seen trash, we've seen things in the community. Now, being transparent and being a part of it, now I can say, "Hey, give me the address where that is, and I can see what I can do." Now I feel like now I'm part of something that I can get answers faster than I used to be able to before, because I didn't have the know-how.
You know, so first of all, I do want to get the information about the park, because we want to make sure that we take care of our assets here in Oak Cliff. But secondly, that speaks volumes that there is such an Oak Cliff pride here. I love it. I'm not from Oak Cliff, but I do live here and have been here for decades. There is such a sense of pride, and when we see something that is not as it's supposed to be, we want to make it the way it needs to be. We want to make our parks and all of these public places as beautiful as possible, because we love and value our Oak Cliff. And so I definitely want to get with you to make sure we take care of that. So you've been a part of the Oak Cliff Chamber for now a couple of years. What is your favorite program that the Chamber puts on, and why?
My favorite so far has been the luncheons, because sometimes when y'all bring the city official guests on, we learn about the economic development areas as business people that we don't know about. So they give us some insight of what's going on. If you're a small business, you don't have the funds, you don't have the know-how on how to get to the funds, they show you the areas and the growth of what's happening in the city of Dallas and Oak Cliff. You get to see up front before anybody else sees. So that's the most exciting part about me, is having that information to that I would have never been involved in the beginning. So that's my most important part.
Okay, so Rickey, you work so closely with the Oak Cliff Chamber team, our staff. You know us by name. You know what we do, what our quirks are. You know all the things.
All above.
What is your favorite part about our team?
Y'all family. The foundation that you guys have, and the smiles and the fellowship that y'all have, it's just, I can stop by the chamber anytime and just go in there, eat candy, sit and talk to Hugh, talk to Felice, and we laugh about some things that happened the other day. It's more, like they say, this is not personal, it's business, but it is personal, and it becomes real structure as business when it's needed to be. But the personal side of it and the foundation as family is what I enjoy the most too. And I told you this before when we first started. I said, "Man, you make me feel important." You said, "You are important."
You are.
Sometimes people that's important like to feel important, because a lot of times all we do is give, and others take. And the importance of it, we don't get that often. And y'all share the importance of how everybody's important on the chamber and in your office.
Yeah. I'm so grateful, Rickey, that you've decided to serve with us, alongside us, because it's folks like you and the rest of our executive team that make this organization what it is. It's a very high caliber executive committee and board that we have. We're very fortunate to have you here.
Thank you.
So thank you for doing this. We're here with Rickey Booker, but we have to take one moment out to hear from our sponsors, so we'll be back in just a moment. And we're back with Mr. Rickey Booker from Breakfast Brothers, and we've got a few more questions for him. We're going to get into his business a little bit, the Breakfast Brothers business. So are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So, Mr. Booker, so we know that when we go to Breakfast Brothers, we're going to be well fed.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be well fed. It's going to taste good. The food is consistent. The service is impeccable. I mean, when I go to Breakfast Brothers myself and they don't know that I'm with the chamber or that you and I have a
Right.
relationship, the service is still the same. What is your secret sauce?
Well, the one thing, every quarter we do hospitality training, and I'm going to break this down on the status of how we hire and how we get to the point where we're at. First of all, hiring process starts with depending on if you're getting hired for the front of the house as a server or the back of the house as a cook or a busser or whatever. Everybody goes through the same functionality. It's a 2-week orientation. You have a screening call when you hit the career link for the job, and you have a screening call and an interview. Then the second interview is usually with the department manager or you're applying for, and then the onboarding goes with the HR department. The onboarding, you get to see, you watch videos of me talking about the history. You see the history, you see the culture, you understand the bylaws, everything that's going on with Breakfast Brothers. Then you start at our ghost kitchen with training, which is 2 weeks prior to that, before you even report to where you're going to be working at in the beginning. And after the 2 weeks, which will be on a Friday, they sit down with me and I ask them final questions, because just because you went through the 2 weeks and we paid you for it don't mean that you, after I get the reports and I see the reports, if you're going to be fit for the team. Mm-hmm. And once you get through me and you pass me, then you get your uniforms and you report to where you're going to go. And the reason why I started doing that is because people get to see where Breakfast Brothers came from and where we are now, and get to appreciate why they're working for us and why we hired them as a team member. Before, we was just hiring people and train them as we go. Mm-hmm. But we had a big turnover in staff because it's hard to keep staff in the beginning. So once we get it, we have a hospitality training that I do off-site. I have a hotel conference room. We bring food and cater, and I have a restaurant consultant, and he's doing all the hospitality training. And some of the training, a lot of the people already heard, but we still stay repetitive on it, bidding it into their system on how the reactions of people as a host, as a server, because it's two different platforms. Being service and hospitality is two different things. Mm-hmm. You can service somebody just by bringing in, being a yes or no type of person, yes, and by bringing in and servicing them. Yeah. Hospitality is making people feel at home, understanding what they are, to where they become a regular customer. And if you watch servers at any restaurant that you go, and if they take your order, if they have to write it down or put it in the handheld, then they either their hospitality side of it is not, they're not being trained on how to know what their menu is and know how to order without putting it in the handheld. Just put your order in this here in their membrane, and then they go ring it up after it's already put in. Mm-hmm. That saves anywhere from 3 to 2 minutes. If you go from the time to, I know I'm talking a whole bunch, but if you go from the time that a customer come in, get on the wait list, you're on the clock. Mm-hmm. So anything that a server don't do or do causes time before they get to the back of the house, before they eat, before they leave and get up. So all those things is in training from the cook side to the front of the house side. So we do extensive training when it comes to hospitality. And like next week, I rented out a whole studio movie grill. I'm showing a movie. We're doing our staff meeting at the studio movie grill. And what it is, I'm renting this movie. It's an older movie. It's called Burnt, about this chef that has ups and downs. He was like the Rockefeller of chefs in London, and how he was so successful with his restaurant. Oh, he's mean, he's crazy, he's terrible, whatever. So we're going to watch the whole film, and then I got money that I'm going to pay out, and I'm going to ask questions about the movie, and whoever answers the question right, they get paid off of whatever it is that come. And then we do, we have top performer of the month, and we have employee of the month that we give out every month too. So with all that stint, I wanted to be a restaurant, a black-owned restaurant that was corporately ran, not like a restaurant, but like a corporate business, to where we have people that's running and servicing and having the hospitality mindset on food, the proper etiquette of passing the food by and people enjoying the food and relaxing. So that's, I have, when you say I don't stop, I have countless hours of where I do things, and people love it. And people love working, I won't say for me, but working with me, because what I put value, I bring value of. And sometimes as owners, as management, as any type of leadership role, sometimes we can get rid of good staff members because we really focus on their weaknesses instead of focusing on their strength. And I've learned, I'm not going to tell you that it was easy. I learned to start focusing on individuals' strength. And the success is coming from that. And God knows I pray a lot about what directions to take and make sure that He keeps me humble on that, because sometimes success you can become an individual that people don't like. So I try to stay humble towards that. And some days I'm not likable because I'm pressing hard, but then I come back and I may apologize. So.
Rickey, just working alongside you, some of the things, or one of the major things that I've learned about you is you're so innovative. You are an out-of-the-box thinker. And, I mean, so far out of the box thinker are you. So not only are you a rigid businessman, as you should be, and it shows, but you think of things, you're a creative thinker, and you know how to cook.
Yeah, I know how to cook.
And you know what tastes good. So how did all of these amazing traits come together to create you?
Ever since I was a kid, and growing up in the neighborhood I grew up in, Oklahoma City, I had all my friends. I was always the one that tried to figure out. It was just in me. When we was youngsters, in summertime, I remember this. It used to be a nightclub next to the 7-Eleven, and one day I seen. He was Pakistani, you know. I seen him taking out trash, and I said, "Hey, excuse me, sir, you clean up this club?" He said, "Yeah, I clean up this club for the owner." I said, "You the only one clean up?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Man, I would like to help you." He said, "Come on here and let me show you how big it is." So I went through the back door with him. His name was Eddie, little short guy. Kind of looked like the guy. He wasn't a midget, but he kind of looked like the guy on. I'm telling my age now. The old. Fantasy Island, the plane, him. He looked like him. So I went in. I said, "Oh, it's not too big. I got 3 friends that I can bring on board too to clean and help you out." And I said, "How much would you pay?" He said, "I don't know about that." And I said, "Well, we got to get paid." I said, "Okay." He said, "Cool." He said, "How much?" I said, $20 a piece, $80 it cost. I think I was maybe like 13 years old. I was young. And he said, "Okay, deal." Went and got my Steve, D'Angelo, and Michi and said, "Hey, man, I got us a job. Every Saturday and Sunday we clean up the Studio 57 is the club." And he said, "You mean that club where all them white people be at?" I said, "Yes." "How'd you do that?" I said, "Just went down there and talked to him and negotiated him." And we got the deal. End up, as we grew up in that neighborhood, that club was probably 10, 15 years long. Older white guy named Bob. Well, at that time he wasn't old, but he got older, named Bob. We kind of grew up around that dude. He really appreciated it. By the time we graduated from high school, we were still cleaning up the club. Of course, we went from $20 to $100 a piece, but that was good money then.
Sure.
$20 was good money. Sure. So once we got grown and was adults, and he passed away, come to find out years later that he had left us the property and left us in the will, but at that time none of us knew any of that, and I guess got lost in the trust or whatever. But he had left us because that, you know, I don't know. He never had any kids, him and his wife, but he took us in as his sons. You know, 4 black young dudes, and we cleaned up there, and we did way better than Eddie was doing anyway, because I think he used to live in the club. But it was things that I did as I was growing up. I was always an entrepreneur on how to do things, and it was just in me, and I love doing what I do. So. And the one thing that I do the most is I never do what everybody else doing. I want to set the trends, because if you're doing what everybody else doing, what's making you different?
That's right.
So I always figure out how to set the trends.
You know, and that shows, because I follow you on social media, and I know that you're very active on social media, but I also know, with as much as you tell us that you are doing, there are so many things that you don't tell us that you are doing.
Right.
And so you have to constantly just be working. And so my hat goes off to you,
Thank you.
for doing that and setting the example, being that trendsetter for so many people. So are there any announcements that you want to make as far as things to come for Breakfast
Well,
Brothers?
right now I'm working. I just did a partnership with prominent sports consultant, and what that entails is we finna start doing NIL deals for student athletes. You know, now they finally approved, I guess a couple years ago, they approved where college students, athletes can make money off of, which they call name, image, and likeness, which is that individual where if someone want to bring and start paying you a certain amount of money to start promoting their product and their brand, they're paying you. So Breakfast Brothers starting an NIL campaign. It's called Breakfast for Champions, and that's the student athletes. So we got like maybe 10 so far we signed, and we're doing promo videos of where we finna start launching, and you finna start seeing the videos of each individuals talking about Breakfast Brothers. Of course, it's a campaign behind it, and they get paid a retainer monthly off of that. And I got some other energy drinks that's involved that's powered through Breakfast Brothers from Pepsi, some of my vendor and partners. Got 2 LOIs out on a location in Trinity Groves, a new development in Arlington, Texas, on a north side near the Cowboy Stadium, a development that's being put together in Little Elm, Texas, a new development for Breakfast Brothers in Oklahoma City. It's just it goes on and on. I never stop. I want to have a generation wealth for Breakfast Brothers to where to come, and then what we're doing to give back to the employees. Now I'm getting ahead of myself, but after we get these things, a foundation under us, we're strong enough, and Breakfast Brothers is kind of on autopilot, and all the areas is running in the right directions. We building something that's called Breakfast Brothers University, and what that's about is each employee have numerous hours. I don't know, it may be 3,000 to 6,000 hours, and once they get the right hours, they go to Breakfast Brothers University to become to get profit sharing. So they'll start getting percentages of Breakfast Brothers after they finish their terms with Breakfast Brothers University. So instead of just being an employee for Breakfast Brothers, we're trying to not just have you going working for check to check, but you get an incentive and a career out of this whole empire that we're trying to build. And also, Breakfast Brothers, we have benefits to where medical, dental, vision. If Breakfast Brothers have membership with Southwest Airline Credit Union, Neighborhood Credit Union. So these some benefits that I wouldn't know, but I didn't think restaurants really offer those type of benefits. But Breakfast Brothers is doing. That's what I mean by how we try to step out of the box and set the trends in some areas that normally that a restaurant may not even offer.
Rickey, you make me tired. Oh my gosh. How do you do all of that? Do you sleep?
Yes, I do. But I gotta say this, I do it, and we don't have it. Sometimes we don't do it enough, but I always gotta reflect back, to God. God I got a vision that He gives me, and I'm being obedient to follow directions right now. So I get my strength and rest from Him.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just human. We get to the point where I, me, but it's somebody in the driver's seat with you.
Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes that's just human nature. Sometimes you make it ignore it. I get tired, and I'm gonna tell you this quick story. I can be dead tired around 2:00, and I'm supposed to be somewhere, and my body will tell me, and I go home, lay down, shut down, and go to sleep. And sometimes I won't wake up to the next day. Okay. After falling asleep at 2 p.m. in the evening, I won't wake up to the next day.
Okay, so friend.
And I go hard in the pain for a month straight, and my body say, okay, you need to get some rest. I say, okay, I'm going to go take a power nap. And that power nap turns into the next day. Everybody's like, where's you at? But now everybody that's around me knows if I'm not answering the phone, this and that, and they know, oh, Rickey didn't shut down. So I had that.
Well, okay, so friend, now I admire everything about your work ethic, but your body ain't got no business shutting all the way down on you.
It do.
You're gonna have to take more rest breaks. But I admire you. I think that you are so phenomenal and such a huge part of our community. I'm going to be honest, when Breakfast Brothers first arrived in Oak Cliff, I didn't know what it was, but all I had to do was taste it one time. And every time I go over there, that place is packed.
Yes.
You got some good music going on. And it's just the way I like it. I'm a 70s baby, and so you be jamming in there.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Well, Mr. Booker, thank you so much for
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. I'm hoping you're going to keep on coming back and chatting with us periodically to let us know all the wonderful things that you've got going on.
And I definitely see you next Wednesday. I got a window. I'm gonna make sure if I miss 1 week, I'm definitely not gonna miss a second week.
You know what?
Taste of Oak Cliff.
Thank you so very much. In case y'all don't know, we do tours, restaurant tours, and we taste phenomenal food here in Oak Cliff. And Mr. Rickey is a huge part of that. And so I'm looking forward to our next Taste of Oak Cliff segment.
Yes.
Okay, well, thanks again for being here. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. This is Strictly Business Unscripted. And again, I'm your host, Keandra Jones. Enjoy your day.